So we have started on the deck recoring part of the refit. And as you can see, we've gotten the top skin removed up here on the foredeck. And what we discovered was a fair amount of wet core. The boat is built primarily with balsa core, but with marine plywood in areas that require structural reinforcement. So there is a plywood beam here that was quite wet, and that's been removed. And then up forward where there was also some plywood, that was pretty wet. And then as we moved back, there was balsa on each side, was more wet up here, and as we moved aft, it became pretty dry. So let's look down here. As you can see, that's all balsa. It seems to be very dry there. So we'll continue with this project probably down the port side first, all the way back through where the Genoa tracks penetrated the deck, and then back around on the starboard side. There are some areas in the coach roof as well that are going to require some attention. A little bit of elevated moisture in a couple of spots, but not nearly as bad as the decks.
So right now we're using this router bit to dig out the rotten core that's still under the deck here.
Okay, so we've got a little bit of glass laid down to close up various holes in the bottom skin of the deck. Also cleaned out all that rotten wood that was underneath the remaining fiberglass in the top skin. Slowly, slowly.
Okay, back aboard SeaSprite, continuing to progress the deck refit portion of the overall refit. Checking on the work that Osprey Marine Composites been doing. Let's take a look up here in the forepeak where they've replaced a large portion of the deck and the core, but there's some areas that will still need some follow-up attention.
Just gonna go around the boat and check on moisture levels and see what areas we can forego. Okay, so as you can see up here in the furthest forward portion of the foredeck, what we have here is solid glass. So that's still gonna read a little bit of something with the moisture meter because that's still curing. But there are some areas here from where we've taken out all the core over to the tow rail and the deck joint, which I think we're gonna still need to address. See, some areas where there's some stanchions up here, there. Then further aft here, we're starting to recore this section with just the Definicel foam. So you can see it's there. Obviously it's a little proud. Once that cures, they'll sand it down, but they're trying to get the camber of the deck right. Right, so here, it's about level, but up here in the middle, it's a little bit proud. That's okay. Sand it down and get it smooth, and then lay some glass on top. And then back here, I've already closed up the main section. Well, it's not the main section by any means. It's just the first part of the port side deck. We'll continue on back, and you can see where the tow rail is. And the most aft chain plate opening is still there, and some stanchions. So plenty to do. Yeah, so I've got to work around all the tools and everything here. But it looks like back here, this is all good. This is all good. This is all good. Okay, I'm over here on the starboard side. It's the forward part of the coach roof. That's good. Good there. Good there. And then we're starting to get close to the first stanchion. Yep, sure enough. So right about there is where we're gonna have to start on this side, working back. You can see stanchion there, chain plates, stanchions, and then the jib track. All right, let's see how we did over here on the port side. Again, all of this core was removed, and much of this, not all of it, a lot of it was replaced with solid glass. Anywhere a chain plate came up, so there's 2 more chain plates. There's a solid fiberglass square there, stanchion. And in this case, there's 2 deck fills that were up in here. Should be a solid glass. Now this looks good. A little higher there. Good. What about forward of this? Yep, all good. All right. Well, that's very encouraging. Of course, back here. Looks like we'll be going. That's interesting. There's a small section here. Sorry, there's a small section here that's pretty dry, but that's interesting. I would expect this jib track to be going off like crazy, but it's not. That's quite encouraging, because that's deck we don't need to mess with. Let's check this stanchion. Even that's not bad. That is good news. That is good news. Yep. Looks like this port side is all right. A little high there. But basically, if it's not beeping, yep, there we go. Well, something there. And we got jib tracks, and we got, we have to be a little bit here, I think. I think we have to do a little work there. Yep. Yep, 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 yep. And then finally, there may be a few places on the coach roof as well. Did I investigate whether there's something metal in there, like wiring? Of course, these handrails, they could have let water in, no doubt about it. So I suspect that's what's going on there. That's depressing. See, I think there's something else under here, because this not even exposed normally. There's a big C-hood that goes over this. I think there's something like some wiring in there setting that off. Yeah. Some cracking over here. Yeah. Anyway, when we're done, it's gonna be dry. That's just the way it's gotta be. Okay, so you can see we got the peel ply off, and the Divinicel has been sanded flush. So the camber is good. The next step will be to lay down some glass. And obviously up here we've got some work still needed to be done. And make those areas solid glass as well.
Ahoy sailors, after about a month spent down at Cape Hatteras, we're back at Harrington Harbor North, and I'm back in the bay at Osprey Marine Composites, back aboard SeaSprite. Unfortunately, not a lot has occurred over the last month. There's been a little bit of work done. The Osprey ran out of resin, and they got really busy doing small jobs that they needed to complete so that people could start launching their boats. So the SeaSprite project got put on the back burner for a little while, but that's okay. It was not in any rush we're not working against any specific timetable, and we understand that it's going to be a long process. At any rate, I'll give you a quick update of what has happened over the last month. So continue to make progress on the port side decks. There is this area here forward, which was completed a while back, and then aft where the head sail track penetrated the deck. We've taken care of that area. I do see this area around the aftmost chain plate, which they've opened up, and I guess that'll be the end of it for the port side deck, although there's some areas back around the transom and the cockpit that will need work eventually. Otherwise, the only other thing that they've undertaken is they've started to drill out the holes, the bolt holes for the starboard side jib track. Actually, the deck on this side along the jib track is in good shape. Just boring out the holes, so we're going to fill those with glass and thickened epoxy, so that when we reinstall the jib track, if it ever does leak, no water will penetrate the core. So sadly, that's just about it for an update on SV SeaSprite. Hopefully they're going to get real busy here the next month or so, and we'll make a lot of progress. Would like to have all of this deck related work done by June or early July, so that we can move on to other parts of the refit. One area where there has been a fair amount of progress is to work on the sea hood and traveler support. It's an integrated piece of fiberglass, and this riser for the traveler there was a lot of gel coat cracking and crazing all along. Overall, the sea hood wasn't in great shape, but they've fixed that all up, filled all the cracks, reinforced it, painted it with primer. So while they were out of resin, they were able to do that work. So that's progress.